الله أكبر الله أكبر.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله الرحمة المهداة والنعمة المزداة وعلى من والاه. أعوذ بالله من شرور الأنفس ومن سيئات الأعمال، من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. ما بعد. I spoke last week about Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah, talking to the issue of inshirah, dilation of the heart and openings of the heart, and how that takes place in the world that cause a person to have tightness of the heart. And we talked about the cause of the tightness of the heart and the openness of the heart. The word diq is the opposite of inshirah. And I just want to say one more thing about it that I have not said last week. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, although said to Rasul sallam, أَلَمْ نَشْرَحْ لَكَ صَدْرَكَ, that we have expanded your chest, dilation of the chest, because it has light, the nur in the heart of Rasul sallam. But there is an emotional moment in our life where you feel heavy in your chest. That's what Allah says in the Quran, وَإِنَّا نَعْلَمُ أَنَّهُ يَضِيقُ صَدْرُكَ بِمَا يَقُولُونَ. But he confined the diq of sadr of what only for what they say. يَضِيقُ صَدْرُكَ بِمَا يَقُولُونَ. الضيق بما يقولون is not diq of sadr, except this heaviness of the heart from what they say. But the Rasul doesn't take it personal. Take it because of the office of prophethood. I may use that word. That people questioning his prophethood. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him a replacement of that feeling. فَسَبِّحْ بِاسْمِ رَبِّكَ. Engage in dhikr and forget about human being. But human beings are not reliable. Because you and them, all of you die. Therefore, so what if they say what they say? Allah said to him, they are not everlasting, they are limited. I am everlasting, and I said, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. You had the best moral conduct. I'm the one who said, مَا زَاغَ الْبَصَرُ وَمَا طَغَى. Allah said to him. That's what I say about you. Whatever people say, remember me. As they say that, remember me. فَسَبِّحْ بِاسْمِ رَبِّكَ. Praise your Lord. And that's what the meaning of the أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. With the remembrance of Allah, heart reaches a high level of comfort. Because when you rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's something else happened here. In the heart. The heart becomes at peace. ما أصابك لم يكن ليخطئك وما أخطأك لم يكن ليصيبك. Whatever happened to you will not have missed you. And whatever have not happened to you have not missed you. It will not have happened to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, whatever have happened to you will not have missed you. Whatever have not happened to you, Allah will it not to have happened. It's not just by chance missed you. ما أصابك لم يكن ليخطئك وما أخطأك لم يكن ليصيبك. And that's why I say to myself all the time, you need to ask yourself, what kind of world do you want to be in? In the spiritual realm and a spiritual space, or do you want to confine yourself to the physical space? You want to confine yourself to human opinion, or you like to confine yourself or to connect yourself to the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? In the light of that relationship, everything becomes relative. Everything is not that important. But important is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we explained that what Rasulullah said about the nur, the light in the heart. Then in page 115, Imam al-Ghazali saying in the Arabic version, إن الله تعالى خلق الخلق في ظلمة ثم رش عليهم من نوره ومن ذلك النور ينبغي أن يطلب الكشف. He said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create human being instead of in this dhulma, darkness, and then he spread his light, cast his light upon them. And this light has different levels. The light in the heart, the light that every human being was born with, it's called the light of fitrah. No one was born atheist, for sure. Atheist is not genetic. Being an atheist, it's not genetics. No one born criminal. Every person was born in a state of goodness. That's the state of light in the heart. And I said before, then human being choose to dim the light or to suppress the light. Then either they cover it, if it doesn't penetrate, therefore they take the enclosed glass. I've been looking for you, man. MashaAllah. The enclosed glass, and then they stain it, which is the taqwa. And therefore the light does not penetrate. You know, that's why some of this issue of Iman is not all intellectual. Honestly. What I mean by that, like Imam al-Razi, he said, Allahumma inna as'aluka iman ka iman ajaiz Naysabur. Oh Allah, I ask you a faith, a belief of the elder women of Naysabur. You grab my grandmother, rahimahullah, say, grandmother, what's your level of tawakkul ala Allah? She will say, if anything can done was that tawakkul. I'm a farmer, we put the seed and want for Allah to make it grow. I'm doing tawakkul every day. Simple as that. She did not go to high school or she did not go to university and so forth. Simple. The intellectual professor gathered, I mentioned that story before, in Sudan, and they were talking about how the hand talk in the Day of Judgment. They said logically how? Hand would talk, feet would talk. They were discussing it. The gardener who cutting the trees, trimming the trees, I mean, overheard the conversation. He came holding his scissors, says, can I join this conversation? They said, go ahead. He said, let me ask you this. What is the tongue? What is the tongue? They said, tongue is a tongue. He said, isn't the tongue a piece of meat, is a flesh also? They said, yes. He said, if the tongue, the flesh, can talk, the other flesh can talk. And he went back trimming his grass. And the professor, in America, you know, that's it. أنطقنا الله الذي أنطق كل شيء. This is Iman Taslim. You know, a Bedouin entered the Medina, have not accepted Islam yet, heard a man reciting Surah Al-Zariyat, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ فَوَرَبِّ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِنَّهُ لَحَقٌّ مِثْلَ مَا أَنَّكُمْ تَنْطِقُونَ. He said, in the heaven you have your sustenance, and by the Lord of heaven and earth it is as true as you able to speak. كما أنكم تنطقون. You know what the Bedouin says? قال سبحان الله من أغضب الرب حتى أقسم. He said, oh glory be to Allah, who made Allah angry and they did not believe him, have him to swear for people to believe him, that Because Allah said, by the Lord of heaven and earth, your sustenance in provision is in heaven. This is a Bedouin living in the desert. He see the rain, he put the seed, wait for the rain to come, and he knows of his sama rizquhum wa tu'adun. He said, why? This is not intellectual debate for him. You don't have to tell him, let me tell you from philosophical point of view and psychological point of view, from the, theology analysis. He said, I don't need that. I just know it. That's called the light. And that's why when you talk to people and they come back to believe in God after they said they were atheists, ask them how intellectual was convincing not to believe in God. And Umar, check this out. I want you to research this for me. See how many atheists came back to believe in God because of intellectual argument. Do research. How many atheists who say God does not exist, and they come back and say God exists, and it was logic that made them to do that? Or was it experience in life? Something hit the heart, made them say, he does exist. Like one man, he said, I'm a solid, aggressive, fundamentalist atheist. I'll tell you how I'm fundamentalist atheist. I was in the train, and I was falling from the train, and I thought I was going to lose my life. And I remember God, but I did not call him. Adil? He said, I remember God, I did not call him. You know what people said to him? Why did you remember only him if he doesn't exist? And I remember God, but I didn't call upon him. Why didn't you remember your mother or Mother Nature? Why you remember God only in the difficult time if he's not somewhere in your heart and you try to express it? He knew when he was losing power there's something more powerful than him, but he is arrogant, said, I'm not going to call upon him because I'm an atheist. You get my point? Because that Allah put in a human being that a person always seek something more powerful than themselves. Whether they call it God or they call it something else. But it's still powerful than them. And therefore he's talking about this light that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in the heart. وَمِنْ ذَلِكَ النُّورِ. From that light you seek Allah to unveil things for you using that light. Count on it. That's why in Islam we pray istikhara. Istikhara based on that light, that you rely on God Almighty. That belief on existence of power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that you are helpless and He's more powerful than you, that stems from the light, from the nur. And that nur, that light, make people naturally understand what is right and wrong in the major things. Every human being believes cheating is not good. Am I correct? Is immoral. Lying is not a good thing. Where does this come from? Not only that, if you have domestic cat, it's not well fed like here, just it comes tawafin, they come to your home and leave. If you give the cat the food, you feed the cat, it will eat it peacefully no matter who's around. If the cat were to snatch something, what will happen? It would run away, it hides. Even the cat knows stealing is not good. Huh? Fitra. Human being. This is a light, a nur Allah put in the human being. And that's why there's a debate about moral issues. هل الأخلاق فطرية? Is moral values natural or earned or مكتسبة? There's some aspect of moral values are you're born with them. If a child was left alone, he or she will learn values that if no one corrupted the values, they will not lie, will not cheat. You learn bad behavior. You learn bad behavior. But good behavior is origin in human being. It's origin. You're born with it. Then your person يكتسب, earned the negative behavior. فالأخلاق السيئة كلها مكتسبة. There is no person who was born with bad character, ever. You learn that.
Genetics.
Oh? No genetics. No person born with something contradicting to what Allah asks of them, because it will not be fair. نعم. وذلك النور ينبجس من الجود الإلهي في بعض الأحاديث ويجب الترصد له كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. Now there's a light from within, and then the light comes from outside. The light of outside come to meet the light inside, and then become نور على نور, light upon light. فالقرآن نور. It doesn't come from me, it comes from wahi, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. القرآن نور. The guidance of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is light, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam إنا أرسلناك شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا. Rasulullah sallallahu come with the light, which is the Quran, and become a bright star himself, like a north star, moral compass, guide all of us as a human being. فنور على نور, light upon light. يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء. Allah guides His light whomever He wishes. That's why prayer, as-salatu nur. Rasulullah said, as-salah nur. When a person pray, that causes them to have light. Somebody come to me and said, I don't feel it. Don't feel the prayer. I said, as-salah nur is light. But in order for the light to penetrate, you have to be what? Receptive. You have a receiver and a sender. Okay? If I turn a flashlight on this wall, and I ask Umar behind the wall, says, do you see the light? Umar saying, I don't see it, because there's a wall. Break the wall. Open the wall. Make the wall transparent. Then you see the light. A person has to prepare their heart for the light to come in. There's a book called Receiving Love. I told you about it before. We should write a book, Receiving Light. How to receive the light. Because Allah said, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ نُورًا فَمَا لَهُ مِن نُورٍ. If Allah does not give you light, you will have no light. That's very important. That the person seek the light and seek this guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَالَّذِينَ اهْتَدَوْا زَادَهُمْ هُدًى. If a person seek the guidance of Allah, Allah will guide them. If a person say, I don't need the guidance, then Allah will not guide them. وَالَّذِينَ اهْتَدَوْا زَادَهُمْ هُدًى. إِنَّهُمْ فِتَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. They are young people who believe in the Lord and will increase them in guidance. For a person have to seek it. And he gave you an example of that. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم said, إن لربكم في أيام دهركم نفحات ألا فتعرضوا لها. You know, there's a nafahat, like pray, you know, very breeze, you know, nice smell, fresh what? Fresh air. Very refreshing, they said. That fresh air, mashallah, that he said, receive it. تعرضوا لها. You know, sometimes a person said the weather is very nice, the temperature is very nice. Our children says on the springtime, said, "Dad, Baba, can we go outside because it's very nice outside?" Yourself, you say, it's a nice weather. Let me what? Let me have a walk. Okay, let's have a picnic. Don't we? We see good weather. In the spirituality, also just there's like weather type. And you seek the good time. Have a spiritual picnic. Have a spiritual walk. Walk in those good time. What I mean by that? Have you been in Hajj? Have you been in Hajj? Have you been in Arafah? Yeah, when you do tawaf, when you are in Arafah, you feel this is a nafahat. And you don't like to lose it. That's why it's very interesting in Ramadan and in Hajj. There's something happened to human energy. I've seen people here in this masjid, they don't go to sleep. A person will stay all night long praying. He prayed tahajjud, he prayed taraweeh, he prayed tahajjud and so forth, and pray fajr, and goes home for 2 hours or so and then go to work. Am I correct? Where does this energy come from? I have seen people in Medina and in Masjid al-Nabawi, brothers and sisters, they're coming back. I see them walking to the hotel 2 o'clock in the morning. So where were you? They say, I was in the masjid. I said, subhanAllah, all of the time in the masjid. They say, oh, subhanAllah, I felt like flying. I don't feel like leaving. What energy come from? It's called nafahat. This nafahat, ta'arradu laha. Seek the seasons of the spiritual fresh breeze. The breeze, fresh breeze coming to us. Fresh breath, they say, seek that. Now, let me speak about the intellectual and the spiritual aspect of the journey of Iman. It's true that there's a challenging issues in America. Not only in America, in the world today. In the virtual world, in the cyberspace, there's more confusions than clarity. There's a mass of information make you head spin. Am I correct? You Google Islam, and the first thing might come to you negative websites. Because there's some people spending millions of dollars to do this. They said, how could it bother Muslims? Let us, give me more money, I will make that Muslim go crazy. Okay? Therefore, they make the first thing in the search engine come something negative. What a person should rely on in the time of confusions? You rely on 2 things: your intellect of thinking straight, but you have to connect that intellect to the heart. and disconnect between the intellect and the heart make a person get in trouble. When a person gets in trouble, by the way, it's not bothering me. I'm just telling you that. So I want you to be at peace. I love children. It's not bothering at all. Now, therefore, between the intellectual and the heart, and between the spirit, you have to be able to have that connection. The disconnect is what the problem is. That some people, they can be highly intellectuals, but they lack spirituality. Am I correct? And there's some people who are spiritual, or they claim that they're spiritual, they don't think. The first intellectual challenges, they fall apart. You have to have both. Imam al-Ghazali himself as an example. You read al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, and you know he's highly intellectual. He challenged every intellectual person at his time. Subhanallah, I'm fascinated by al-Ghazali, rahimahullah. He read philosophy, logic, and everything, and terminologies, and anthropology and sociology in his own way. And yet, he really have the science of the heart as well. And this is my conclusion to this point. Islam in America has to be taught with the two wings. You cannot have one wing. Very dangerous path. You have to have the spiritual, which is cultivate the heart, the light on the heart that begin with fitrah. But you have to also to feed the mind so that no one gets confused. And both of them has to come together. Both of them have to come together. Actually, with the aql, with the mind, you sustain the heart. With the heart, you feed the mind. Al-aqlu, al-qalbu, ghidha'u al-aql. The heart feed the mind, nurture the mind, and the mind does what to the heart? No. I just said that. I said the aql, the qalb, nurture the heart. The heart nurture the aql, the mind, and the mind does what to the heart? Sustains it. Sustain it. What I mean by that, you said to the heart, be careful. You're enjoying what you're enjoying. Think about the consequences if you don't do that. Think how you used to feel. You're going to let this joy of dhikr goes away? Are you going to have the contemporary world overtaking you from the permanent world? Don't you feel rest and joy in dhikr of Allah? You try that and it works. Why do you try something different? Why are you going to go after your whim and desire? And the heart saying to the mind, please keep thinking positively, because I'm enjoying this. I'm full of joy. I'm resting. And if you want to have ease at you, the mind, keep nurturing, remind me, I'll keep nurturing you. Because I'll make you have a peace of mind. That's what it happened. Have to be that communication between the heart and the mind. All the time. That connection is what's missing sometimes. Either we teach dry Islam in America, or people say, forget about anything, just do some dhikr and other things, and then our child, or we say, let them just do the rituals, and then when they in public school, and the first thing they read in Darwinism and evolution, they come to you and say, Dad, really, Islam is a thing of yours. You think like that, or a thing of you.
It's more dangerous when they don't say that.
Yes.
That's even more dangerous.
Exactly, when they keep it to themselves. And here that I would like just to say one thing. Since I'm on the topic of Islam in America, you cannot also let a young person does not know the resource of his religion and you think that they can sustain it. They have to be able to connect to direct source. And that's why, alhamdulillah, there's so many effort being done in many classes, in many retreat and so forth, to try to get people access to the knowledge from the intensive courses being taught and other things. But they need also to have access to the language. They have to know the language. Because the most dangerous things in learning any science is which language the original science was in. Whoever controlled the language controlled the debate. Am I correct in this? If Islam only one day become English Islam, no Arabic at all, what will happen? What? Islam eventually will become a different religion.
It will be taught better in the American universities than in your own.
No. Listen, I'm saying carefully. I'm saying to you this, and I know this. If Islam become only English or Urdu or Farsi religion, eventually Islam will not be the same. Listen, what happened to other religions would happen to Islam. Because if you don't read Quran in Arabic, if you don't understand it completely, there's no one in the face of the earth today that understands Quran in Arabic. Just hypothetically, you will have problem. Am I correct? You will have big problem. Because every word other than that is a word of human being. Yes?
So you touched on the topic of atheism briefly. For those of us that either teach in Sunday school or have children in Sunday school, they come to the masjid once a week, and the rest of the week they're in public school. And it's not just evolution or Darwinism they're learning in class that may lead them down the path of this intellectual void, but also some of their friends are atheists as well that they run into school as well. So how do we, as parents or as a community, kind of counteract that? How do we arm our children and our youth with the right tools to be able to respond to that sort of thing?
And that's a wonderful question. There's a three aspect of this. Did you hear his question? He said that the children does not go to Islamic school, for example, going to the public school, or even in university. They start having friends who said, God is a matter of past. It is the age of internet and everything electronic and everything is in your fingertip. We don't need mullahs, we don't need deen, we don't need religion, because we making it happen without God. We don't need him anymore. And that social circle influences a person. There are three things. Some of this belief is not because a person intellectually being challenged. Is emotionally become discomfort. Trust me. I've been doing this now. You see, I came to this country with no gray hair. It is emotional discomfort. Let a person question their identity. Was Walid ibn Mughira intellectually accepted Islam or not? Intellectually.
Yes.
Walid ibn Mughira listened to the Quran and said, هذا ما قول البشر. This is not the word of a man. Intellectual was convinced. Abu Jahl went and put emotional pressure on him, having to change his mind. He said to him, Walid, what are you saying? You know what? Let me tell you what the rumors in the city. The rumor in the city said you've been paid money. You've been bribed, there's a bribery going on here. They paid you money to say that? He said, no, I have a lot of money and I don't need that money. So they fed you some food, and that's why he said, what do you mean? Because of my stomach, and I said, then you have no option. Your reputation on the line. You have to say something against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
That's what the Quran said.
No. And therefore they came to him and said, I want you to change your mind. Walid al-Mughira said, give me some time, I will think about it. إنه فكر وقدر فقتل كيف قدر ثم نظر. He thought about it. He said, إن هذا إلا سحر يؤثر إن هذا إلا قول البشر. This is magic. It's not good. But Walid al-Mughira said, made a statement about the Quran. It's so beautiful. He said, this is a word full of sweetness and always generate fruits, and you can hear it and you can feel the beauty of it, and it's not a word of a human being. Therefore, when a person said, I'm an atheist, I was Muslim, become an atheist, you ask why? Social circle. Number two, another social problem is a person being mistreated by fellow Muslims or family, and they throw the baby, the tap water, what do you call that? Huh? The baby with the bath water. They said, okay, forget about the whole Islam. That's what Yusuf alayhi salam could have done. Yusuf alayhi salam, he was mistreated with his brothers. Have hard time. You could have said what? This Islam that used to be in Palestine, I can't wait to get out of it. It didn't help me. He put me in the well, throw me in the well. Those are and my father is a prophet. He couldn't raise my brothers well. What is going on here? You know what I mean? I've been sold into slavery, been put into jail. Why I'm getting so much trouble being Muslim? But because the light that was in his heart, and the Father nurtured that light, the light doesn't go out. It did not go out, subhanallah, in the bottom of the well. You still there's a light. Yunus alayhi salam, in the stomach of the well, still there's a light. In darkness, في ظلمات, نادى في الظلمات. He called in darkness, لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. You know, some people came to Islam in America, Muslims. I know them when back home in Sudan and other places, they will not practice the Muslims, and they have no belief in Islam, although they're a Muslim country. They come in America, become a better Muslim. I asked them why. They said it can become a matter of identity. I want something to hold on to it, to hold something in my past. It was cultural. And all of a sudden, I said, I should go to the masjid. Some of them become huffaz of Quran, wallahi, and become fuqaha actually, that I know personally, in America.
Ladies who put on hijab after 9/11.
Yes, when a person being challenged in their identity. The third problem is that a person was being told Islam in a very superficial way, and the first knocked them down. Or the pressure to stay Muslims is come from the family, but there's no genuine effort for challenging the status quo, what's going on in the world today, in terms of learning Islam. And that is what the problem is. And therefore, if you want to teach Islam in America, this is a book to teach. That's a book that we're doing here. Because a person has to understand there's an aspect of this is self-discovery. It is not intellectual exercise, it's self-discovery. You get to know the light, you get to know yourself, become in touch with yourself. And that's why when a person is atheist, you say God does not exist. From the Islamic perspective, they lost touch with oneself. And you want to help that person to come in touch with themselves again. نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُم. They forget about Allah, they forget about themselves. He couldn't even see his hand. Therefore, the reorientation of that person. And by the way, I would like to say something very important here. You have to have sympathy and compassion to guide somebody. Looking down to a person like that. Those young people will come to you with an identity problem. People are not compassionate enough with them. They're not gentle enough with them. And Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah said to him, وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. If you are harsh and difficult on those people, you will not see anyone around you. Bring people with gentleness. Sometimes, what can turn a person around is just acceptance and say, I know you're struggling. Let us read something together. Let me try to answer your questions. I will conclude by this. There's a brother in this masjid, a medical doctor, who accepted Islam some time ago. He walked to my office. He reminded me when I moved to this community. He said, you remember me? I said, I don't remember you that much. He said, I come to your office in Washington, D.C. I come with a list of questions. He come with a conference or something like that at the time. Had some question about Islam. And I looked at the questions. I said, you have those questions? Yes, he says. Yeah. I said, you want to know about Islam? He said, yeah. I said, let me before I answer your question. Do you believe in God? He said, yes. You believe that the Prophet Muhammad is a prophet? He said, yeah, but I have this problem, this question. I said, enter Islam, and then the question, I'm not going to answer the question. I didn't do that with anyone before. Usually I try to engage. He said okay, and I gave him material to read. I said, and then I saw him after 10 years later, and he said to me, you remember me? That's what he told me. He accepted Islam. His brother accepted Islam, and both the medical doctors. For just meeting, I looked at his face. Right to know what. I said, this guy doesn't need questions. He doesn't need any discussions. That's what it takes. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الا الذين امنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم.